Hello everyone, Mr. Lipchick here, and today we're going to talk about future trends in population growth. It is estimated that the global population around the year 0 CE was about 300 million people. Over the next 1,800 years, it increased to 1 billion. The Industrial Revolution led to a population of 6 billion. Demographers predict that the human population will continue to grow in the coming decades, reaching as many as 9 billion in 2015. For 99% of their history, humans got their food by hunting and gathering in small groups of people. Humans operated as families in small social groups, eventually developing new methods of cooperation and governance. About 10,000 years ago, humans learned to domesticate plants and animals. This provided a more stable food supply, and the population expanded, allowing for people to specialize in things other than food production. The Industrial Revolution brought even greater food production. Disease prevention developed along with science and technology. This led to huge population growth. Some scholars worried that food production would not be able to keep pace with population growth. Factors affecting world food supply today include food distribution, food loss and waste, food prices, and environmental damage, that is overfarming and overfishing. Also natural disasters such as droughts. The population now has an exponential growth rate. In 1927 it was 2 billion, 1960 3 billion, 1974, 4 billion, 1987, 5 billion, and 1999, 6 billion. Developing countries usually have higher birth rates than developed countries. Infant mortality in developing countries is higher as well. The difference is attributed to disparities in food and nutrition, and to factors such as disease and armed conflict. The human race needs to stabilize population growth, especially in developing countries, so that it does not outpace food production. Fertility rate is defined as the number of live births relative to a given population. Fertility rate is expressed as the number of live births per 1,000 births. Per 1,000 people, rather. Mortality rate is the number of deaths relative to a given population. And higher levels of infant mortality can slow population growth. Mortality is expressed as the death rate or numbers of deaths per 1,000 people. Fertility rates and mortality rates influenced by environmental and human conditions shape the growth rate. Population growth rate is defined as the increase or decrease in a given population over a period of time. Population growth rate is expressed as a percentage of the total population at the start of the time period being examined. Since the Industrial Revolution, nations have undergone a process known as demographic transition. Demographic transition is defined as the process by which wealthier, advanced nations undergo population stabilization. The demographic transition process is organized into 4 states. Stage 1, high birth rate and high death rates lead to fluctuations in population. Industrialized Industrialization has spurred food production, but science has not reduced the levels of disease and medical treatments to lower the mortality rate. Stage 2, high birth rates and declining death rates lead to population growth. Improvements in technology have expanded food production and medical care, increasing life expectancy. Stage 3, birth and death rates begin to decrease. Innovations keep death rates low, while the growth of cities and economic pressure leads to smaller families. In stage 4, low fluctuating birth rates and low death rates create a large population with stable growth rates. Higher standards of living account for variations in birth rates, which tend to stay low. Urbanization is defined as as global populations continue to grow, they become concentrated in urban areas such as towns or cities. As populations migrate from rural to urban areas, population density increases. This causes more people to live on smaller areas of land, placing a greater burden on the resources of that area. In 1969, about 1 billion of the 3 billion people on Earth, that is 30%, lived in urban areas. In 1999, the urban population comprised about 2.8 billion, or 47% of the 6 billion people on Earth. Historically, urbanization has taken place to a greater degree in developed nations than in developing nations. It is now taking place in developing nations as well. That concludes our discussion on future population trends. Thank you for attending, and I look forward to seeing you in the live lesson. Have a great day.